Hey everyone, and welcome back to another American Ninja video. So let's jump straight in. If you had thought the first in the series had ridiculous over the top moments, then American Ninja 2, it takes those and amps them up to a whole other level. It turns up the dial 1000%. American Ninja 2 is delightful cheese, the creme de creme of crappy but good entertaining movies with a cluster of laugh out loud moments. Time flies with this movie, and it is personally my favourite in the series, but my opinion may change after watching the other sequels, but I'll address that in a future American Ninja Legacy video. Just before I warn you about the many spoilers that are going to be in this review, I just want to mention a few words about the filming. The movie's supposed to be set somewhere in the Caribbean, but it was actually filmed in Johannesburg in South Africa, and filming also took place in Mauritius. This fact is given away by some of the accents from the locals in the movie in the Blind Beggar Bar, particularly when there's a girl who's rocking a glam rock metal kind of haircut and she has a strong South African accent. And the head guy of the local thugs in the Blind Beggar, he also has a strong South African accent, so there's just a random fun fact for you all. Interestingly, this would be the last time we see Dudikoff as the American Ninja until the fourth movie when he teams up with David Bradley from American Ninja 3 Blood Hunt. The late great Steve James, he also stars in 3 with Bradley. So we're going to get into a brief overview of the plot. There'll be heavy spoilers. After that I'm going to talk about some of the memorable characters from American Ninja 2. So the plot is pretty much revealed in the opening, to be honest with you. Marines have been mysteriously vanishing. The commanding officer, Wild Bill, yes, really, that really is his name. He is absolutely hilarious, but more on that dude later. Anyway, he sends a request for help to the US government, and in response, they send Sergeant Joe Armstrong and Curtis Jackson. I mentioned in the previous American Ninja video that Steve James makes these series as much as anybody else and is the standout actor in my opinion. I feel American Ninja 2 give James the opportunity to shine both with his action sequences and acting. James for me has some comical dialogue which is delivered extremely well with his strong charisma and screen presence. James really is the close friend and co-protagonist in equal measure of Michael Dudikoff's character, Joe Armstrong. Dudikoff's character is no longer the brooding bad boy loner archetype, but he still doesn't really have a great deal of dialogue, but he serves as an American with a mysterious past from his ninja background, something which is never missed by the opposing antagonist head ninja. Whether intentional or not, it adds to the series and taps into the ninja mystery component. I guess this was maybe done for those who might not have seen the first movie. So this leads us perfectly into talking about other notable characters from the movie. Inspector Singh, charmingly referred to as a maggot by Wild Bill in an amusing scene, but he's a minor character who adds to the comedic flair. Imagine a pompous little man full of his own self-importance, pretty much what you get with Singh. Next up is big smelly greasy strongman who looks like he suffers from I can't stop sweating syndrome whenever you see him. This dude is one of the mid-tier villains and he leads the gang of thugs tasked with beating up the Marines when they visit the Blind Beggar, which is the dive bar in the movie. He's also the other South African actor with the notable accent, which kind of gives away where the location was for a lot of the filming. Gary Conway is the uber villain, an actor with a high pedigree of films and very long career. He's your theatrical, over-the-top rich villain, in the vein of Senor Ortega from the original movie, but without the terrible accent. He does have his moments and some overacted scenes, which just amp up the comedy even further. Tojo Ken, played by Mike Stone, is the evil head ninja. He has some good exchanges with Dudikoff and is quite a decent villain actually. There are some other characters from the cast who have missed out, but they aren't as memorable as the previously mentioned. I haven't forgotten Wild Bill. That guy steals the show in American Ninja 2, but we'll get to Bill when I go through some of the funny comical wet your pants moments a little bit later. In my first American Ninja video I talked about the score and soundtrack. I mentioned some positive examples of how it was used to portray the coming threat of the Black Star Ninjas. So how does the score factor in American Ninja 2? Well, it switches up to reflect the setting of the movie, with a Caribbean flair mixed with 80s synth, has some minor oriental elements. The score is okay, I guess. It does sound cheesy, probably because it's been some considerable time since it was released. The score also changes to a military feel when the Marines are going into the field, and it is amusingly bad. It'll make you laugh out loud, and I'm on best behaviour already not to reveal one of the exact moments this happens. This scene here, in the early part of the movie, when Curtis and Joe are being taken to meet Wild Bill, the radio is playing Move to the City by Guns N' Roses. I did some extensive research and I'm still unable to find out the answer as to how a low-budget action movie managed to feature Guns N' Roses on the soundtrack. From what I could gather, Guns N' Roses were relatively unknown at the time, mainly just in the LA area, so this is a real interesting question. I'm personally not a Guns N' Roses fan myself, I'm an extreme metal guy, but it was interesting hearing them being featured in the early part of the movie. So what is the acting like in American Ninja 2 compared to the first movie? Purposely overdone, very amped up. It's comedic theatre fused with an entertaining cheese spread topped off with a bottle of wine to help it go down. That is the best way I can describe it. The standouts again are Steve James, Wild Bill, and Jeff Conway for sure, but utterly entertaining. The action is consistent and regular, it's not a slow-paced movie, and American Ninja 2 never keeps the audience waiting too long for the next fight or chase sequence. It's pretty much sit down, be entertained and forget about everything, and that's certainly not a bad thing. The martial arts are an improvement over the first movie. Some of the standouts would be Steve James, Mike Stone as Tojo Ken, who is the leader of the evil ninjas, then of course Michael Dudikoff as the American Ninja. Everybody else is there just to make up the numbers. Imagine you're playing a beat 'em up game with an endless wave of disposable bad guys. This is how the majority of the ninjas perform in the movie, and the thugs and anybody who is on the villain side of things. Make no mistake, the sequences are cheesy, but the fun, it's just so much fun, and time flies when you watch any American Ninja movie. You know, I mentioned this in the first American Ninja video, the martial arts aren't the grittiest and most realistic you would see. For example, it's not on the level of violence that you see in the 2009 movie Ninja Assassin, and it's nothing like 13 Assassins or Blade of the Immortal. However, these movies have had a significant impact on other films that have followed, particularly Scott Adkins' first ninja movie, which I will be talking about in a future American Ninja Legacy series. I'm fighting the temptation not to drop spoilers now because people may be wondering, well, hang on, the martial arts in those movies are worlds apart. Yes, they are, but I'll just drop this subtle hint for now. It's pertaining to the mysterious secret society that are featured heavily within the film. Okay folks, I've made you wait long enough. Let's get to the funny moments in American Ninja 2. It's completely littered with pure comedy. To say American Ninja 2 amps up the ridiculousness and really goes overboard in delivering would be an understatement. It's for that reason alone why this part of the video was so difficult to make, because I thought, how do I compile a list of all of these comedy moments when they're just endless? So in the end I thought, I'll just share some memorable scenes that really made me laugh and that I've always found extremely hilarious. See these guys here? Just before the file out, it looks like a cosplay washing line, man. It's like, oh hey lads, time to file out. Someone has invaded NinjaCon without a cosplay outfit and we need to deal with them. They're not authentic enough. Let's get them, man. Okay y'all, so next on the list of my memorable moments from American Ninja 2 is this scene here. Dudikoff throws a section of a staff that's broken off, I think it's that, and the ninja's performance when he gets hit and the way he's falling over, it's like, go on man, give us your best thespian performance ever. Another ninja demonstrating his Shakespearean acting skills is this guy here. You have to see this scene just to hear his cries and the expression on his face, well the bit that you can see. Absolute unpolluted hilarity. Remember when I said we'll get to Wild Bill? Man, I love this guy. He's probably my favourite character from American Ninja 2. He is completely exaggerated. He wears a cowboy hat. He's the commanding officer of the Marines. He has some of the most magical dialogue ever in cinema history. His delivery is gold, and he rocks a sick mustache to really get the point across. Wild Bill, the man, the myth, the legend. With that said, Wild Bill probably has one of the most standout scenes in the entire movie. It is a scene as famous as the Buckethead incident in American Ninja 1. It takes place when Bill learns about what has been happening to his Marines. Curtis and Jackson are in the office with Bill, and right now, man, I can literally see the scene in my head playing again. I can hear his lines. It is just so funny. There's no doubt my golf commentary narration doesn't do this justice at all, so just look out for it, folks, and you'll know it when you hear it. So good. Shout out to the actor Jeff Celentano, who played Wild Bill, for delivering such an entertaining and memorable performance. And I also love the way Wild Bill talked about the villains in the movie and the dialogue he had when he was engaging with them. It made the film be completely memorable and gave us some true comedic relief. There is also another memorable scene involving the Marines. It is towards the end of the movie, just before the final fight, and you may be wondering, well, what is this scene? For me, we need a new trailer for American Ninja 2 with the correct narration that will really draw people into watching the movie. Personally, I think if you take this scene alone, use it to sell the movie, Wild Bill, Sergeant Jackson and Marines departing HQ singing battle hymns whilst cheesy shitty music is playing in the background. Absolute genius. Earlier I was talking about the dive bar from the movie called The Blind Beggar. It's where this charming gentleman hangs. Big smelly greasy strong man. Well, Steve James has a very memorable scene. I guess it's his Incredible Hulk moment from the movie. It looks like something from pro wrestling where it's like one man versus 20. This is so bad yet equally funny. Just look at the expressions on the actors during this scene and the way James has his Hulk moment, as I mentioned, when he like roars and escapes the danger of being pummeled by 20 people. In fact, this whole fight scene here is actually quite hilarious. Keep repeating the words hilarious, entertaining and funny, but that's what American Ninja is. Just remember not to drink anything when you're watching this scene or you'll spray it everywhere. If you've ever watched any of the American Ninja movies before, then you'll be very familiar with the ninja training camp routine. There's always a group of gathered rich villains, and they are gathered together to watch a demonstration by the evil ninjas to witness their lethality and very dangerous skill. The problem is, it's always really basic crap kata, beginner level low blocks, mid forearm blocks, knife hand blocks, and then the occasional forward roll. I appreciate it's low budget, so they've just gathered a group of extras at the time, put them in ninja outfits, and probably just shown them a few basics. I've always found this amusing though, because the ninjas are supposed to be very, highly skilled, deadly opponents, and whenever you see these montages, you're just like, yeah, that just looks like any beginner class anywhere. Tojo Ken, who is the head ninja sensei in American Ninja 2, he provides another demonstration, which again, if you've seen any of these movies before, the evil ninja sensei always takes out a group of ninjas to provide further evidence of just how effective his fighting skills are. To be fair, Tojo Ken has quite a good scene actually, and it's not as bad as some of the scenes in the other movies where the head ninja sensei then takes out a group of his fellow ninjas. But, the key word but, and no, I'm not referring to a particular part of the body. There is a scene, yes, there's a scene, where Tojo Ken throws a katana backwards through his legs whilst he is arching forward and successfully hits the ninja behind him. Raiden himself would be proud of that, and I wonder if we'll get some DLC for that move to be added to Scorpion's repertoire in Mortal Kombat 1. It would make an interesting move for sure. Cheesality comes to mind. And oh man, how could I forget when Tojo Ken first enters the arena and he uses his voice like an evil sorcerer so the ninjas come to attention. I guess it's a bit like Yame, and he kinda does a sound like this, I guess. It's quite amusing, it'll make you wet yourself. As I was saying earlier, y'all, this movie is just littered with so many comedic moments, and this was another one that made me wet myself. I almost felt like a speech bubble could have popped over the head of one of the ninjas where it said, "Hey up, head sensei's here, we've got to get serious now, let's stop the cosplaying." And would you believe it, folks, there is another scene involving Tojo Ken, this time with the American Ninja Michael Dudikoff. During their final showdown, when Dudikoff is getting the better of Tojo Ken, the evil ninja decides to do something that actually wouldn't look too out of place in Mortal Kombat, and that is the sacred ninja shotgun. When years of training no longer works, you can always rely on the ninja shotgun. Honestly man, I feel like they just went all out in this scene. It's like, how can we ramp up the lunacy even further? And yup, Dudikoff evades a shotgun at close range. Then once he's done that, he has his final of the final fights with Tojo Ken. To be fair, it's an entertaining sequence. It's probably one of the standout fights from the movie. It's just when the shotgun comes out, it's so bad it's good. And you know what, y'all? Yes, I may have an appalling taste in movies, but if you put a ninja on something, or a samurai, I will pretty much support it. Whether it's samurai underwear, or ninja toilet paper. Ninja magic comes in many forms. And one final comedic moment I definitely want to highlight for y'all, and that would be Steve James fighting a ninja. And it's near the end of the movie, and he has this hilarious line where after a long drawn out fight, he turns around and he points to the ninja and he yells, "Stay down!" Now I obviously can't deliver these lines with the same high degree of pedigree, but I hope I've given you some insight into the joy and escapism to be had with the American Ninja movies. Just sit back, chill, relax, and laugh out loud, y'all. So my overall thoughts of American Ninja 2 are that it still remains as my favourite in the series, but once I've watched the other sequels, if that opinion changes, I'll certainly address it. The movie may be cheesy and certainly on the fantasy side, but man, doesn't that make it fun. I'm never bored when I watch it. I'm always entertained, I laugh out loud. I do love the way they tap into the myth and fantasy surrounding ninjas, a notion I'm probably going to be repeating on every other American Ninja video that I do. There are some scenes where they do try to be serious and demonstrate a real example of what trained assassins would do, but the very few, I don't think they ever intended these movies to be 100% serious. I feel like I've just recycled my conclusion from American Ninja 1, but I guess it provides evidence of the consistency with the entertainment side to the American Ninja series. I do like how Steve James was given much more of a prominent position in American Ninja 2 alongside Michael Dudikoff. He was very much the co-protagonist of equal standing, and I thought that was awesome. Just to repeat earlier sentiments that I've shared in the first American Ninja video, there's something to be said for these movies that tell a simple story to immerse the viewer, over the top stunts, some real cheese dialogue, but you know, you never forget these movies, you always remember them, you remember various scenes, and I think that's the testament to the power of American Ninja's ability to make us laugh and smile. I would like to thank you all for watching and for the love and support. It's good to know that there are other people out there that share my passion for all things ninja and samurai. I'll see you on the next video, which will be American Ninja 3 Blood Hunt, the debut of David Bradley as the other American Ninja. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. If you have any recommendations for other ninja and samurai movies, please let me know. Mosh Shinobi bows, peace out, much love.